A tense situation between a group of protesters and the police erupted in front of the road leading to the parliamentary complex today. The protesters had gathered at one of the entrances of the parliamentary complex with the intention of handing over a letter to the Speaker of the Parliament. Due to this, the media unit from the Speaker's office had collected the letter from the agitators. Following this, the police had informed the protesters that they had obtained a court order and ordered them to leave the location. With that, the protesters then asked the police to show them the court order, to which the police said that it was still on the way to the protest location. Not long after, more police personnel arrived in a bus and then proceeded to arrest the protesters gathered in front of the entry to the parliamentary complex. This was when the tensions arose, as the police proceeded to use physical force to arrest the protesters and detain them inside the police bus. During this, a senior police officer who was seen commanding the police detachment was seen on video footage captured by a correspondent, claiming that the arrests were being made under Section 119 of the Penal Code that pertains to the breach of parliamentary privileges. However, up to this point, the police had still failed to produce the alleged court order before arresting the protesters. However, Section 19 of the Penal Code actually deals with attempts by individuals to wrongfully restrain, assault or prevent either the President or a Member of Parliament from exercising their lawful powers. Such attempts carry a prison term of 7 years and a fine. As such, we spoke to Attorney-at-Law Surin Fernando to clarify if the section specified could be used to arrest protesters.
Peacefully protesting and showing dissatisfaction with the way either the President or Member of Parliament or any other public official is functioning is part of the freedom of speech and expression, and that would not be caught up within Section 119. Hooting is basically showing some disrespect or dissatisfaction with regard to the conduct of the particular person who is subject to the hooting. That does not amount to criminal force or a threat. That is also obviously part of the freedom of speech. And interestingly, during the Janagosha times in the 1990s, where the current Prime Minister was involved in those protests, that matter also did go to the Supreme Court. And in that case, the Supreme Court recognized that the right to support or criticize governments and political parties, policies and programs is fundamental to the democratic way of life. And the freedom of speech and expression is one which cannot be denied without violating those basic or fundamental principles of liberty and justice. So long as there is no criminal force or the threat of criminal force or those other elements in Section 119 used, it cannot be an offense under Section 119 of the Penal Code. This offense can't be very widely construed so as to override the freedom of speech. In my view, so long as there was no unlawful action on the part of the protesters, they have a right to ask their representatives to vote for or against particular propositions. So in the absence of some conduct which would be of a criminal nature, I don't think that this could be smuggled in as an offense under the Privileges Act.
According to reports, the police have arrested 12 and produced them before the Kaduvela Magistrate Court today. In response to the arrest of the protesters, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka issued a media release explaining that those engaged in lawful exercise of their right to protest cannot be arrested. The BASL says that the right of the public to protest in a peaceful manner must be respected and upheld, and stressed that such protests must be peaceful at all times. In other developments, the Talangama police have requested the Kaduvela magistrate to issue a court order preventing people from protesting in front of the roads leading to the parliament in the next 2 to 3 days, as it inconvenienced the country's parliamentarians. Despite this, the Kaduvela magistrate rejected the request, saying that the reasons they have furnished are inadequate to issue such an order.